A field in Yorkshire, Palm Sunday, a blinding snowstorm. Two armies walk toward each other through the white. By nightfall, the snow is soaked red. No day on English soil has ever been bloodier. You've seen the movie version, The Glorious Clash. You've also seen the Hollywood Got It Wrong video. This isn't that one, because we didn't imagine that day. We dug up the men who died in it. Their skulls still carry the blows. The movie's got the dying wrong. The bones know how. The clash wasn't what killed most of them. Start with the proof, not a guess, a grave. In 1996, builders broke ground at Towton Hall. A shovel hit bone in the frozen mud. A mass grave. Nobody had gone looking for it. Around 38 men. 28 skulls intact enough to study. The battle that put them there, Towton, and on the other side of a sea, outside the walls of Visby, on the island of Gotland, a second pit. There, a Danish king had landed a professional army on their shore. Gotland's defenders were a peasant levy, farmers, not soldiers. At least a third were children, the old or the crippled. They never had a chance. And the ground kept over 1,000 bodies. One of the largest battle graves in Europe. These men can't speak, but they can't lie. First, who were they? Everybody from the Towton pit was male, 16 to 50, bones thickened by a life of hard work. Some stood over 6 feet, their shoulders worn like a lifelong archer's. Working men, trained to kill. Now the fight. It didn't open with a charge. It opened with arrows. At Towton, the wind was behind the Yorkist archers. Lancastrian arrows fell short. The Yorkists fired theirs back. Then the lines met, and it was nothing like the films. Not a swirl of one-on-one duels. A close-order press. Shield to shield. Poleaxe and bill. Men holding their rank. A knight in full plate did it in 50 pounds of steel that drained him with every step. And here's the strange part. The clash was survivable. Look at Visby. The wounds aren't where you'd expect. Inglemark counted the cuts. Most fell on the lower body, the legs. The shield guarded the chest. The mail guarded the gut. Nothing guarded the shins. Where the armour reached, it held. Where it ran out, they died. One Visby man took a single blow that sheared off both legs, his armour above held. And it's not just Visby. A third grave, Aljubarrota, Portugal, 1385, 400 men. Different weapons, different country, the bones land in the same place, the legs, the left side. Men hung back at a safe distance. The killing came in bursts, not a steady grind. For a man who kept his armour, his shield and his nerve, the clash itself was often survivable. So if the clash didn't kill them, what did? Here is the moment that decided everything. One side's nerve goes, a man turns, then 10, then the line dissolves. And the instant they run, the battle becomes a massacre. Because the winners don't let them go, they chase. At Towton, the routed Lancastrians piled up at a flooded river. They were cut down from behind, crowded into the water. Chroniclers say the fleeing crossed the beck on a bridge of their own dead. At Towton, more men died fleeing than fighting. And it's the same story, battle after battle. The side that broke did almost all the dying, and the bones prove it. Look at the Towton skulls. The killing blows land on the back of the head. The skulls are unhelmeted, helmets thrown off to run faster. You didn't die fighting bravely face to face. You died running with a wound in your back. But one skull doesn't fit the running. 28 skulls carried 113 wounds between them, about 4 blows to every head. One man, Towton 25, took at least 8 to the skull alone. Another, Towton 32, carried at least 13. And the cracks reveal the order the blows landed. 5 survivable cuts to the left, then one from behind, then a cut that split his face eye to jaw. You don't need 8 blows to kill a man. So what were they doing? This is the rage of the chase. Men struck long after they fell. Their forearms are cut and broken where they threw up an arm to block, and against plate, a sword's edge was useless. The fight books had an answer. Flip the sword, grip the blade, swing the pommel like a hammer. They called it the murder stroke. A downed man was finished with a colder tool, a stiff spike through the visor, the armpit, the groin. The fight books called it the dagger of mercy. There was no mercy in it. And if you surrendered, threw down your weapon, for a poor man, surrender meant nothing. In the chase, he was worth no ransom, so he got the dagger. A lord was different. A captured lord used to be a payday, kept alive for a fortune. But this was a war for the throne. Now a captured lord wasn't a prize. He was a rival to a race. At Towton, 42 knights were beheaded after they'd surrendered. The higher your rank, the more surrender doomed you. So the real battle wasn't won with swords. It was won in the mind. Whoever broke first, lost, and then died. That's why discipline, not courage, usually won the day. And the numbers are propaganda. A royal herald put Towton's dead at 28,000. Rival chronicles range from 9,000 to 36,000. The true toll is unknown. The winners always inflate it. The chronicles lied to glorify. The graves can't. Now, stay honest. 2 graves aren't every battle. Excavated battle graves are rare and found by accident. They over-represent the routed and the massacred. So we don't know all of medieval war. We know these men, and they're the ones who can still answer. So picture yourself there, in the line. You imagine dying a hero, sword in hand, face to the enemy. The bones say no. You'd survive the press, you'd survive the arrows, and then the man beside you would break, and you'd die in the mud with a wound in your back, killed by the one thing the steel couldn't stop: panic. That panic, the same fear that turns a crowd into a stampede, is something you'd still feel in your gut today. It has emptied battlefields for as long as men have fought. In 2003, 2 scientists rebuilt one of these faces, Towton, 16. A working man, 45, an old healed sword scar across his jaw. He had taken a blade to the face once and lived. This time he didn't. No chronicle ever wrote his name, but we know how he died more clearly than we know how most men of his age lived. So the next time a film shows a glorious medieval clash, you'll know the real battle started the moment someone ran, and you've looked the men who learned that in the face.